Welcome to Real Crusades History. I want to read to you today from a book called Saladin by Andrew S. Ehrenkreutz. Ehrenkreutz was a scholar who specialized in Islam in the High Middle Ages, and he was an expert in the life of Saladin. His understanding of Saladin's career was incredibly exhaustive and insightful. That's why I think his summary of the results of the Third Crusade is one of the most intelligent commentaries on the Third Crusade available. Modern accounts of the Third Crusade concentrate on the dramatic Battle of Acre, and when discussing personalities, they emphasize both the bravery of Richard the Lionhearted and the chivalrous deportment of Saladin towards the Christian enemy, particularly in the last years of the historic confrontation. Much less publicized is the shocking failure of the Muslim resistance. Although for 2 years the Crusaders were confined to a beachhead outside the walls of Acre, Muslim warriors proved incapable of crushing the aggressors or even effectively supporting the besieged garrison. Later, after most of the Crusaders departed, the forces of Islam suffered further humiliations from a handful of Christians commanded by King Richard. In spite of overwhelming odds in their favor, the Muslims could neither outfight the Christian contingent nor simultaneously protect Ascalon and Jerusalem. Considering the military organization and defense-oriented economy of the Muslim countries, and in view of the strategic advantages they secured in 1187 through 89, the terms of the 1192 armistice must be regarded as a humiliating concession the Christian invaders imposed on Islam. This grievous failure of Islam during the Third Crusade must be attributed to lack of enthusiasm for the Holy War. As at Acre, the Muslim leadership crisis was much in evidence during the 1191-92 campaign against Richard. The confidence Saladin originally enjoyed reached its low point in the final stage of the Third Crusade. In addition to lack of family cooperation, Saladin ran into difficulties with his rank-and-file troops. It was their cowardice which forced him to give up defense of Ascalon. Their defeatist feelings even caused them to doubt whether Jerusalem should be defended at all against Richard the Lionhearted. The most flagrant defiance of Saladin's authority on the battlefield occurred 5 August 1192, following the Muslim recapture of Jaffa. Doubting their chance of repelling the attack, the Crusader garrison had asked for terms, and Saladin agreed to allow the Christians to leave the city with their goods in exchange for money ransom. But the Sultan could not control his troops, who had broken into town, so the Christian garrison retired to the citadel while the Turks and Kurds pillaged. The angry Sultan ordered his Mamluks to stand at the city gates and take the booty away from the plunderers. Speeding to the rescue of Jaffa, Richard established his camp outside the city walls. As the Crusader relief contingent arrived by sea, the knights had no horses and could only fight as spearmen or bowmen. When Saladin realized the enemy's vulnerability, he decided to finish them off by a surprise night attack, which would avenge earlier humiliations and recover his prestige. After dark on 5 August, squadrons of Muslim cavalry moved against the Christian camp, but their movement had been detected, and Richard warned. He drew up his little troop in battle array. When Saladin's warriors saw the solid line of the Crusaders, they lost all interest in battle. True, the Mamluks made a few mounted charges, suffering heavily from the crossbow volleys, but the rest of the troops simply refused to attack. Saladin's famous biographer, Baha al-Din, who had become the Sultan's secretary in June 1188, admitted the dismal performance of the Muslim soldiers. They were supposedly embittered by Saladin's protecting the Christians of Jaffa. Some of his troopers, observed Baha al-Din, had even taunted the Sultan. "Make your own Mamluks charge, who beat off our people on the day we took Jaffa." Whatever the cause, Saladin could not get his men to attack. To add insult to injury, Richard publicly exposed this total disobedience by riding along the whole front of Saladin's men, lance at rest, mocking them, and not a soldier attempted to touch him. Saladin at last left the field in a fury, and the next day was in Jerusalem, ordering fresh fortifications. A few weeks later, on 2nd September, a formal armistice proclamation ended his long war against the Crusaders.